Welcome, Seeker.
What if I told you that everything you see, everything you feel, and everything you believe to be solid reality is nothing more than a projection of the mind? For thousands of years, mystics, sages, and initiates into the hidden schools of wisdom have whispered a single truth, a truth so powerful it has the potential to unravel the way you understand existence itself. That truth is captured in the very first of the Hermetic Principles, the Principle of Mentalism, which declares, "The all is mind. The universe is mental." This is not mere philosophy, it is a key that opens the door to understanding why reality bends to belief, why civilizations have risen and fallen based on ideas alone, and why the deepest mysteries of magic, manifestation, and spiritual awakening always begin with the mind. Imagine for a moment that the world you walk through every day, the streets, the people, even the stars above, are not external, independent objects, but currents of consciousness woven into a vast tapestry of thought. If that is true, then you are not just a wanderer in the cosmos. You are a co-creator of it. In this journey, we will travel into the shadows of history, where ancient adepts of Egypt and Greece encoded this principle in symbols, temples, and sacred texts. We will uncover how philosophers from Plato to Hermes Trismegistus hinted that reality is not built of matter, but of mind. And we will descend deeper still into the living pulse of this mystery, exploring what it means for our everyday lives, our struggles, and our potential to awaken. But beware, knowledge of this principle has always been guarded. It overturns the illusions that keep humanity bound. To grasp it is to stand on the threshold of power, the kind of power that reshapes not only how you see the world, but how the world itself unfolds before you. So stay with me until the end of this exploration. For once you begin to see that all is mind, the universe itself begins to reveal its hidden script. And if you wish to walk further into these mysteries, subscribe, share your thoughts in the comments, and keep your curiosity alive. For curiosity is the first breath of awakening. The idea that all is mind did not emerge in isolation. It is one of the oldest currents of wisdom flowing beneath the surface of human history, encoded in temples, scriptures, and whispered teachings handed from initiate to initiate. We find its earliest echoes in ancient Egypt, the land where Hermetic philosophy itself was born. The god Thoth, whom the Greeks later identified with Hermes Trismegistus, was said to be the divine scribe, the keeper of knowledge, and the one who spoke reality into existence through the power of thought and word. In Egyptian cosmology, creation itself began not with matter, but with mind. The god Adam conceived the world within himself before breathing it into being. The unseen thought preceded the seen universe. Centuries later, in the Hellenistic era, this wisdom crystallized into what we now call the Hermetica, a collection of sacred writings attributed to Hermes Trismegistus. These texts, blending Egyptian, Greek, and mystical philosophies, became the foundation of Hermeticism. Within them lies the seed of the principle of mentalism, that the cosmos is not a machine of lifeless matter, but a living, conscious, and intelligent whole. Philosophers across the ancient world echoed this truth. Plato, for instance, taught that the material world is but a shadow of the world of forms, perfect patterns existing only within the realm of mind. Plotinus later expanded this into his vision of the One, the infinite source from which all emanates, a principle that resonates deeply with Hermetic thought. Even in the East, in the Vedic traditions of India, the sages declared that Brahman, the ultimate reality, is consciousness itself, and that the universe is but a play, a lila, within that infinite mind. And yet, despite these profound teachings, the principle of mentalism has often been dismissed, hidden, or misunderstood. In an age dominated by materialism and empirical science, the idea that thought precedes matter seems like an outdated superstition. But look closer. Even modern physics, in its strangest and most revolutionary discoveries, hints at truths the ancients knew. The observer effect in quantum mechanics, where consciousness influences the behavior of particles, echoes the same Hermetic axiom that the universe bends to mind. Throughout history, this principle has been guarded, precisely because it is dangerous. If people understood that reality itself is mental, kingdoms and religions built on rigid authority might crumble. If the individual grasped the power of their own mind, they would no longer be easily ruled. And so, the knowledge was concealed, hidden in symbols, cloaked in allegory, preserved only in mystery schools, alchemy, and esoteric traditions. But for those who seek, the trail has always remained. From the emerald glow of the Emerald Tablet, with its cryptic declaration that all things have come from the one mind, to the Renaissance Magi who resurrected Hermeticism as a living philosophy, this teaching has survived, waiting for those with eyes to see. Today, we stand at the crossroads of science and mysticism, where ancient wisdom and modern inquiry begin to converge. The principle of mentalism invites us to look beyond appearances, beyond the illusion of a cold, mechanical universe, and to rediscover the truth whispered since the dawn of civilization, that the mind is not in the universe is in the mind. The principle of mentalism is summed up in a simple but staggering phrase: the all is mind, the universe is mental. At first glance, it may sound poetic, even abstract. But this statement is not meant to be taken lightly. It is the cornerstone of Hermetic philosophy, the lens through which every other principle must be understood. To say that all is mind is to declare that reality itself, in all its vastness, is born not from matter, but from consciousness. Imagine for a moment that you are dreaming. Within that dream, you see landscapes, people, events unfolding. It feels real. Yet the entire dream is taking place within your own mind. This is the analogy Hermeticism invites us to consider, that the universe we inhabit is, in essence, a dream within the infinite consciousness of the all. This does not mean that the world is an illusion in the sense of being fake or unreal. Rather, it means that what we call reality is mental substance. The mountains, the oceans, the stars, all of them are thought forms within the cosmic mind. Just as your personal imagination can create whole worlds in a dream, the universal imagination has given rise to galaxies, atoms, and the very laws of physics. Here lies a subtle but crucial distinction. In our ordinary view, consciousness is something that emerges from matter, as if the brain somehow creates awareness. But the Hermetic teaching reverses this assumption. It tells us that matter is an expression of consciousness, that the brain itself, along with every other form, arises within the vast mental field of the all. To grasp this principle, you must step beyond the limits of ordinary perception. For our senses deceive us, convincing us that the material world is solid, external, and separate. Yet even science shows us that matter is not as it appears. Atoms are mostly empty space, vibrating fields of energy. The solidity we perceive is a construct of the mind interpreting patterns of vibration. This is why the Hermetic texts speak of the all as beyond comprehension, eternal, infinite, unknowable. It is not a god in the sense of a bearded figure in the sky, but the very source of being, the mind behind existence. To the ancient Hermetists, the divine was not something out there, but the very essence in which all things live, move, and have their being. What then does this mean for us as individuals? If the universe is mental, then we too are mental beings. Our thoughts are not isolated sparks in a void, but waves within the ocean of universal consciousness. The act of thinking is itself a participation in the creative process of the all. This is why so many mystical traditions emphasize the power of thought, intention, and imagination. To realize this principle is to awaken to a new responsibility. Every thought we hold, every idea we nurture, is a seed with the potential to shape reality. Just as the universal mind dreams worlds into being, so too does the individual mind participate in creation. This is the secret that sages, magicians, and mystics have guarded across the ages. And yet, as profound as this principle is, it opens the door to even greater mysteries. If the universe is mental, does that mean we can reshape it through our own consciousness? To what extent are we creators? And to what extent are we dreamers, caught within a greater dream? These questions lead us deeper into the labyrinth of Hermetic thought, where answers are not given outright, but revealed through experience and inner awakening. Before we continue, pause for a moment. Consider your own thoughts, not just what passes through your mind, but the possibility that your inner world is connected to the fabric of existence itself. How does it change the way you see yourself, knowing that you are not separate from the all, but an expression of it? If these insights spark something within you, I invite you to journey further with me. Subscribe to this channel, share your reflections in the comments, and let's continue unveiling the hidden truths of the Hermetic tradition together. The deeper you venture into the principle of mentalism, the more paradoxes emerge. If the all is mind, then what are we, mere figments in a dream, or sparks of the dreamer itself? This tension lies at the heart of Hermetic philosophy. The ancient texts are careful to remind us, the all is unknowable. We cannot define it, for every definition would reduce it. Yet we are told enough to glimpse its essence. The Kybalion describes the all as infinite living mind. That phrase alone is meant to shatter the ordinary framework of thought. Not a lifeless void, not an impersonal machine, but living mind. A source that dreams reality into being with vitality, purpose, and endless creativity. Here arises the first paradox. If all is mind, then the universe itself is both real and unreal. Real, because it exists as a thought within the mind of the all. Unreal, because its substance is not material, not absolute. It is mental. Just as a character in your dream is real within the dream, yet without independent existence, so too is everything we encounter in this universe. This perspective has baffled philosophers for centuries. Some compared it to Eastern teachings, where reality is described as Maya, the great illusion. Yet Hermeticism insists that while the universe may not be real in the material sense, it is real enough, a mental manifestation with laws, order, and structure. It is illusion only in comparison to the infinite reality of the all. Another common misconception is to confuse mentalism with mere positive thinking. While it is true that thoughts have power, the principle of mentalism is not a simplistic recipe for wish fulfillment. It is a metaphysical law. All planes of existence, physical, mental, and spiritual, arise within the universal mind. What you think does not magically override the cosmic order, but it does align you with its flow. Your mind is a fragment of the greater mind, and its harmony with the all determines your ability to manifest. A deeper mystery is the role of imagination. Mystics often claim that imagination is not fantasy, but a higher faculty, our ability to participate in the creative work of the all. When you imagine, you are not inventing something out of nothing. You are reaching into the subtle realms of mind, where archetypes, patterns, and potentials reside. The Hermetic adept trains their imagination as a sacred tool, aware that images held with intention ripple through the mental fabric of reality itself. But there is also a danger. To grasp that the universe is mental can lead to arrogance, the belief that one is the absolute creator of all things. Hermetic texts warn against this delusion. We are not the all. We are rays of its light, sparks of its fire. Just as a dream character cannot claim to be the dreamer, we too must recognize the boundary between our finite consciousness and the infinite mind. To confuse the two is to fall into spiritual pride, a pitfall that has consumed many seekers. And yet, within this boundary lies liberation. For if we are mental beings within a mental universe, then our limitations are not absolute. Thought becomes the bridge between the finite and the infinite. By refining our mental patterns, by mastering the art of attention, concentration, and imagination, we align ourselves with the deeper currents of creation. This is why the Hermetic path begins with mentalism, because to master one's mind is to step onto the path of true power. Consider how this principle shifts your understanding of everyday life. The thoughts you entertain are not private whispers lost in the void. They are movements within the field of mind itself, shaping not only your personal reality, but resonating outward into the greater whole. You are, in this sense, both participant and co-creator. And here, perhaps, lies the greatest paradox of all. You are not the all, yet the all expresses itself through you. You are both dreamer and dream, fragment and whole. To awaken to this truth is to walk the razor's edge of Hermetic wisdom, where mystery is not something to be solved, but lived. If these ideas resonate with you, let them stir your imagination. Share your reflections in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and join this journey of unveiling ancient wisdom that still whispers to us today. The principle of mentalism may appear abstract, even lofty, but the Hermetic masters never intended it to remain locked in philosophy. They taught it as a living practice. For if all is mind, then mastery begins not with external conquest, but with the inner kingdom of thought. The first step is awareness. Most people drift through life unaware of the ceaseless stream of thought within them. Their minds are like wild horses, galloping in every direction, dragging the rider into chaos. The Hermetic student begins by observing this stream, quietly watching, noticing the patterns of thought that arise, the emotions that follow, the habitual loops that bind them. To know the mind is to prepare for its mastery. The second step is attention. Where attention goes, energy flows. In a mental universe, attention is the currency of creation. What you continually focus upon gathers weight in the fabric of mind, whether it is fear, anger, hope, or love. Hermetic practice trains the student to wield attention as a deliberate act. To turn away from distractions, to hold a chosen thought or image steadily, is to begin shaping reality itself. A simple but powerful exercise. At the start of each day, choose one clear thought, a word, an image, a principle, and hold it in mind for 5 minutes without wavering. This may seem simple, but in practice, it is one of the greatest disciplines. Over time, it builds concentration, strengthening your ability to hold and direct thought like a sculptor shaping clay. The third step is imagination. As mentioned before, imagination is not idle fantasy, but a sacred faculty. The Hermeticist uses it to pattern reality. For example, if you wish to cultivate inner strength, you do not merely repeat affirmations. You close your eyes, summon the image of a mountain, immovable and eternal, and merge your sense of self with it. Each day you return to this image, letting its essence sink deeper into your mental field. Over time, this pattern manifests as resilience in your daily life. Visualization, then, becomes a ritual of creation. Whether for personal growth, healing, or spiritual ascent, the images you hold with focused intent ripple into the unseen layers of mind, influencing both your inner state and the outer world. But the Hermetic masters also warned, power without discipline leads to ruin. Therefore, the fourth step is purification. To apply mentalism effectively, you must cleanse the mind of destructive habits, fear, envy, resentment, self-deception. These vibrations distort the mental field, leading to chaos. Techniques such as journaling, meditation, or ritual cleansing were all employed by ancient practitioners to clear the mental mirror, so it might reflect the light of the all without distortion. Another practical key is mental transmutation, the art of shifting thoughts from a lower vibration to a higher one. Suppose you feel anger. Instead of repressing it or letting it consume you, the Hermeticist transforms it. They pause, acknowledge the energy, and then deliberately redirect it toward courage or determination. This is alchemy of the mind, turning lead into gold, base thought into refined power. Even in mundane life, the principle of mentalism reshapes perception. A difficult conversation ceases to be a clash of egos, and instead becomes an exchange of thought patterns within the field of mind. A challenge at work is no longer a fixed obstacle, but a mental knot waiting to be untangled. Reality, once rigid and unyielding, reveals itself as fluid, malleable, alive. This is not to say one can bend the universe entirely to personal will. The cosmic order, the laws of cause and effect, the higher planes of mind, all these exist beyond individual desire. But within the scope of your consciousness, you possess immense freedom. You can direct your mind as an instrument, align with higher truths, and shape your life as a conscious co-creator rather than a passive dreamer. Try this. Tonight, before sleep, set a simple mental intention. It could be clarity on a decision, the release of a negative habit, or even a symbolic image you wish to explore in dreams. Hold it firmly as you drift into slumber. For the mind does not rest when the body sleeps. It continues to weave, to explore, to create. You may find upon waking that the seed you planted has grown in ways subtle but undeniable. In this way, the principle of mentalism is not just an idea, it becomes a daily practice, a way of living. To master it is to reclaim authorship over the story of your life, to awaken as a conscious participant in the great mind of the all. And now, I invite you to share. How do you experience the power of your thoughts shaping reality? Leave your reflections in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and continue with me as we uncover the deeper layers of Hermetic wisdom, step by step. The principle of mentalism is more than an ancient maxim. It is a mirror held up to reality itself, whispering that all you see, all you feel, all you believe, flows first from the mind. The universe is not a cold machine, but a living thought, a dream within the boundless consciousness of the all. From the Hermetic temples of Egypt to the secret manuscripts of Renaissance mystics, seekers across time have preserved this truth. If you master the mind, you master the foundation of existence. If you awaken to the creative force within your own thoughts, you cease to be a prisoner of circumstance and become an architect of reality. We began with the mysteries of history, tracing the echoes of this teaching through forgotten civilizations. We journeyed into its philosophy, uncovering how the Hermetic sages saw the universe itself as a great mind. Then, step by step, we explored how this principle unfolds in daily practice, through awareness, attention, imagination, and transmutation. And now, the question remains, what will you do with this knowledge? Will you continue drifting in the tides of unconscious thought, or will you take the reins of your own mind, shaping your life with intention and clarity? The truth is both humbling and liberating. You are not separate from the great mind of the all. You are a spark of it. Every thought you cultivate, every image you hold, every vibration you sustain, ripples through the unseen, contributing to the unfolding of the whole. Perhaps that is the greatest secret of the first principle, that to know the mind of the all, one must first learn to know and master the mind within. So I leave you with this thought. If reality itself is mental, then what kind of reality are you choosing to imagine into being? If this journey has stirred something within you, I invite you to subscribe and join our growing community of seekers. Share your reflections in the comments, for together we weave a greater tapestry of understanding. And remember, the Hermetic path begins not in distant temples or hidden texts, but here, in your own mind. For all is mind, and the universe itself awaits your awakening.